That was the obligatory smile for the social media sites so that they can get a kind of picture of me that's halfway decent rather than looking like that as they usually do. Hello and welcome to another edition of the Xander Gibb Show. Yes, that crazy gay conservative who loves America and really wants to make a difference. That's me. Apart from the fact that it's like 100 million degrees here tonight. Hi, Carla. Welcome. And I can't have the fan on for the whole show because it really does affect the audio. And guess I'm going to have to deal with it. But we are getting ready to go live for the Xander Gibb Show. And I am just sharing. Been singing a lot today. I had a nice lunch out with my sister. And I had a steak with vegetables. And it was really tasty. I'm just identifying the YouTube link. So that I can share that too, because I know some of you guys out there like to watch on the big TV. I never watch myself on the big TV. I always find myself looking for flaws, bags, and lines, and general kind of stuff like that. Oh, it's too hot for flaws, bags, and lines, and shut up, Xander. How dare you talk while I'm trying to set up my show? It's very rude of you. Oh, that Xander is so rude. Here we go, sharing on Parla. How are you guys doing out there with Parla? Do you like it? Do you think it's good? Is it making a difference? Is it this? Is it that? Is it anything? Or is it just the latest in a line of attempts to copy popular social media, but just, not really cutting it? Answers on a postcard, please. That's it. We're shared. I just have to share on a few Facebook pages, and then we will be ready to go live for today's episode of the Xander Gibb Show, the talk show that really does get you talking. Yes, it does. Just a couple of camera adjustments to do. Get a kind of picture of me that's halfway deep. Steak. Yep, you can't beat steak. I think I had problems with Parla too. I had trouble with Carla. I'm not being poetic, honestly. And essentially, what I had to do was I had to join on my phone so I could use it on Facebook, which I found pretty odd. Should be able to kind of join on either. Everything is running slowly today. My computer. Here we go. So let's quickly share to the Facebook pages. Click share out there so you can tell people that you're watching. And we are just sharing on all of the conservative pages, making sure not to share anywhere we're not supposed to share because they get pretty predatorial. Oh, yes, they do. Very nearly there. Just looking at the pages to avoid. If you haven't joined TND 2.0, you should join that. It's a very pro-conservative group. That's TND 2.0, I guess they call it now. They don't call it not anymore. It's not what they call it anymore. No pun intended. Here we go. We're nearly there with the shares. Just got to share on 2 more pages, and then we will be getting started. Oh, I wish I had air conditioning. That's the one thing, well, I say not the one thing, but one of the things that really bothers me about the UK. They don't have, air conditioning. I think it's an alien concept to them. Share to a page. I don't like this new Facebook sharing system. It's really kind of messed things up. What do you think about that, guys? We'll talk a little bit about that when we get started, when we go live to all of the stations, networks, sites, sounds, you name it. Don't forget to like the Xander Gibb Show page to keep up to date with everything that's going on with myself and everything else that's going on. Hello, Mike Gina. I will come say hello to everybody individually as soon as I've made this last share, so that people know where we are. I need to make a very minor camera adjustment. There we go. Who is that handsome gentleman? And we are ready to go live in 5, 4, 3, 2. Cue those opening titles.
Been good to me this time around. Things were the other bound to change when it was found. Sugar never tasted sweeter on my lips. My heart is now intact, and I can find no rest. This is love, yeah, love. Never known true love before. Seen so many counterfeits that left me on the floor. This is love, yeah, love. All will come to those who wait. Time it cannot know the bounds, and eras don't dictate.
Hello, welcome to today's episode of the Xander Gibb Show, the talk show that really does get you talking on the Xandermonium Network, live from an undisclosed location. It's not your mother's basement or mine. I'm bringing you the best in Patriot broadcasting 5 nights a week. I'm Xander Gibb, and on today's edition, I got on my soapbox, breaking down this week's, today's hottest topics even, and analyzing the news and giving you the chance to comment on these things yourself in our phone-in. And in part 2, we break down today's hottest topics with political commentator Tony Lasacco. You can have your say in the live feed below, and I'll be sharing your comments as we go along, so make sure you keep them clean-ish. You can check me out on social media, not Twitter as yet, because they've suspended me for some unknown reason. Maybe it's because I'm too beautiful. But you can check me out at xandergibb.com. Oh, yes, sirree. Let's come to the live feed and say hello to everybody who is in there. I just need to make another camera adjustment. This is what happens when you don't have a, there we go. There we go. I'm not losing my chin, or chins, should I say, too much now. So let's come to the live feed and say hello to everybody in there. It's early and we are light. Welcome to Carla. Welcome to my Gina. Welcome to everybody else that is watching and listening. Come and join us in the live feed on Facebook. You are most welcome. Come and tell us what you think. And now it's time for Xander's news of the day. I need a, I think you need a jingle or something for that. Okay, so the Trump administration is awarding more than $35 million in Justice Department grants to organizations that provide safe housing for survivors of human trafficking. The grants are being announced on Tuesday at a White House event attended by Attorney General William Barr, Presidential Advisor Ivanka Trump, and other administration officials, survivors of human trafficking, and organizations that serve them. The $35 million in housing assistance grants for victims of human trafficking is being provided by the Office for Victims of Crime within the Justice Department's Office of Justice, programs to provide housing and services to human trafficking survivors. The grants will be shared by 73 organizations in 33 states to provide anywhere from 6 to 24 months of transitional or short-term housing assistance to survivors, including to pay for rent, utilities, or related expenses such as security deposits, etc. The White House has said today. Hello to Dave. Welcome to the live feed. I think that this is a great forward step from someone that they, this is an initiative from President Trump, someone who they portray as an uncaring person. Clearly he cares enough to do this. And the concern is that, in the run-up to the election, they're going to want to kind of continue to say bad things about him. Prince Harry and Prince Meghan, that was Freudian, Meghan Markle's dog name has been finally revealed, along with its sweet meaning after 2 long years of guessing the wrong names. Meghan's famously had to leave her dog Bogart behind in Canada when she left for England. She told the BBC that the 2 dogs she's had for quite a long time, both are rescue pups, and one is now staying very close friends. And her other little guy, yes, he's in the UK. He's been here for a while, but added, I think he's doing just fine. His name is Pula. My thought is, who cares? There are people dying in the world, and that is a lot more concerning than the stupid name that is given to Meghan Markle's dog. Dave says, greetings, fellow Xanderites. Xander Gibb is live on Facebook and Street Lock. On Street Lock, we have Xander Gibb live. Hello to my brother Chat, live in the middle of a hurricane. I'm not sure he's going to be able to call in today and give us a little bit of a weather update and tell us what's pissing him off today. Apart from the weather, that is, and the fact that he's had to get his generator sorted out. So the police chief in Seattle is urging elected officials to discourage anti-police demonstrations that have taken place over the last several weeks after protesters targeted her home over the weekend. Dominic Mastrangelo reports before this devolves into the new way of doing business by mob rule here in Seattle and across the nation, elected officials must forcefully call for the end of these tactics. Police Chief Carmen Best wrote to the city council. Should the chief of police have to be begging for elected officials to discourage protest against the police? I mean, I ask you, have we not got the point that they're pissed off that some police officers, a very small percentage of police officers, are not right and not fair? So if I go into a bakery is a bad example. If I go into a store next week, if I go into Mickey D's and the person behind the counter says, I can't serve you, Xander, and punches me in the face and says, you are a big fat oaf, does that mean every single McDonald's in the whole of the planet is bad? I know that's a really silly example, but you have to give silly examples when idiocy is kind of being used in this way. Why should the chief of police in Seattle have to beg public officials to discourage this kind of thing? Oh, you're in Northeast Connecticut, Dave. I used to live in New Fairfield. I used to have a home there. Former MSNBC producer wrote a scathing open letter explaining why she recently left the cable news network. Joseph Wilson said, important facts or studies get buried. Ariana Peckery says, the model blocks diversity of thought and content, which the networks have to incentive to amplify fringe voices. It's interesting how many people are leaving these networks who have worked for them for some time because they're finding, they're racist, they're anti-Trump, they're anti-anything that doesn't fit their agenda. It makes me laugh when I hear people say how the media is unbiased. All media is biased because it depends on who's paying the bill. And, ultimately, the only media you can trust is independent media, like the Xander Gibb Show, Freedom on Deck, the Joe Messina Show, the Andrea Kaye Show, etc., etc. And finally, Republican Senator Lamar Alexander, who ran unsuccessfully for the White House in 1996 and 2000, handed President Donald Trump a 5-foot walking cane at a White House event today, saying Republican president might just need a big stick this fall. Alexander, a former Tennessee governor, presented President Trump with the decades-old mountain man stick after the president signed into law a major bipartisan conservation bill. I think the president might need that stick more often than he would care to admit. The video is off sync. I don't know why that is. Is anybody else seeing the video off sync? Maybe it is your computer, or I don't know. Try the refresh button. Maybe that will make a difference. It looks a little bit jerky here. Let me just refresh. We've got good internet here, so I don't know why that would be a problem. Let's just restart this page and see if it makes a difference. Here we go. Still looks a little bit jerky. Is anybody else having problems with the sync of the video? We've got time for a couple of calls. You can call us on 845-363-4747. That's 845-363-4747 if you are in the United States. But if you are in the UK, you can call us on 0208-133-5274. That's 0208-133-5274 if you are in the United Kingdom. And as I said, if you're in the United States, you can call us on 845-363-4747. That's 845-363-4747 if you are in the United States. Chet says his issue is the hurricane that is in. I'm sorry, buddy. I've been there when hurricanes occur. It is a concern, really. So give us a call, 845-363-4747. If you are in the United States, and if you are in the UK, you can call us on 0208-133-5274. It never ceases to amaze me how when we are in an election year, hi to Swoop, welcome to the show. It never ceases to amaze me how vile the left actually becomes, even more vile than usual. As you know, I talk about TikTok a lot because I spend a lot of time on there and love to educate liberals on there, but they've just become so nasty, so cruel, so bitter. I wonder if it's because they know that they are gonna lose the election in November. And, the thing is, for me, they forget all of this after the election. They forget, our party is going to win. Everything's going to be okay with our party, et cetera, et cetera. And then when it doesn't happen, they forget kind of what they've said. But, in fairness, I think we have to remind them about this when Donald Trump wins on November 3rd. Because to me, This is something that needs to change. I do see it on both sides, but it's not as bad with it's not as bad with the with our side of the fence. What else did I want to tell you? We have a call. Welcome to the show. You are live on the Xander Gibb Show. What's your name and where are you calling from, Chet?
Hello, Zan.
How are you doing? I am good. It's hot here. I believe you're in the middle of a hurricane. Are you holding on to something? And are you getting blown away?
Yeah, I got the generator running. My father has the big Honeywell generator. So right. I went out there, I gassed it up, and I got it running. And, right now we're probably the only house on the block that has cable, so that's good. And a few lights. And, yeah, it's crazy. They're talking about us being without power till 4 p.m. tomorrow. But that's because of our wonderful electric union that we have here in New York. It's, most unions in New York suck.
They do. But is it, because I've been there a couple of times, and it's a brownout, because sometimes when it's a particularly hot day, like everybody, the world and his wife have got their ACs on, so it kind of uses too much electricity.
Right. Yeah, we don't have electricity is the bottom line. But the interesting thing is I have a marina across the street from me, and they have everything running. I'm just wondering if they're running off a generator. It sucks when you don't have these things because we become so accustomed to like Wi-Fi and all the unnecessary amenities that we have. You don't appreciate it until it's gone.
No,
I don't know if we had ever had a nationwide shutdown, like if China attacked our grid. Can you imagine what would happen? People would go nuts.
Yeah, that kind of worries me. I mean, one thing that I think we should all be working towards now, after what happened with this, pandemic lockdown, I think we should all be looking towards being as self-sustaining as possible. I don't mean that we should become like the militia per se, but everybody should kind of start stocking up, because who's to say that they're not going to do this again? This is all part of a power grab, like a nationwide, like a planet-wide power grab. So if we're not, because I wasn't prepared. I had some stuff in the freezer, but like most people, I'm not a hoarder. But do you feel differently after all of this? And it must be different for you because you have kids as well. Because you can live on a can of beans and some bread yourself, but your kids are going to get bored of that pretty quickly.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I do have stockpile in my basement of freeze-dried foods, and I do have some stockpile of canned goods. I have some artillery, and people should. And I have water. People should get water. They should get purifiers for water. They should get freeze-dried food. They should get canned food. You can never be too ready, and if you don't have to use it, that's a good thing.
Right.
Not a bad thing.
Because it is about being prepared, isn't it?
Yes, I think things have changed. And in a way, Xander, I'll say this happening to the United States may be a good thing in one way, and that may be that people are now seeing that it can all go away very quickly. Yeah,
exactly. And I don't think any of us anticipated that this could, like living in the UK, I never anticipated that this could happen. People, standing online for groceries, people, things are getting back to normal here, but I am not so sure that it won't happen again,
right.
Because they're talking about all this second wave bullshit, even though I don't really believe there was a first wave.
Right.
That's not to say, it's terrible. We have to keep saying this. You said this the other night, too. That's not that we're decrying that the virus exists. We're saying that we don't think it's been as bad as purported. But I won't be caught with my pants down again or with something like this. Ha ha.
Yeah, but I was looking at the, they put out pictures of Lewis's funeral, Xander. The whole place, the entire place, not one person has a mask.
Really?
And they're sitting shoulder to shoulder with one another. I
Right.
mean, come on. Are we going to eventually wake up? Yeah, you saw Fauci throws out the first pitch, sits in the stands with two people right on him.
Right.
I mean, it's almost like they're thumbing our nose in it in a weird way.
And then they have the audacity to talk about, who was the black gentleman, the conservative guy who died recently?
Herman Cain, yeah.
Herman Cain. Yeah, absolutely. Apologies, my brain doesn't hold names so well as I get older. Herman Cain. You know, they blamed him getting COVID on going to a Trump rally. So they're happy to use it when it benefits them. You know, you can't go and stand in line to vote, but you can go to Walmart and you can protest, you know, in the street, throwing rocks at people and looting and pillaging because that's okay, you know?
Well, you know, I mean, you're right. The thing that happened with Herman Cain was terrible, and obviously, if he did get tested positive with COVID-19, that didn't help him with his stage 4 cancer that killed him.
No, exactly.
The stage 4 cancer that his daughter said that the mainstream media and Google and all the other outlets online are listing him of dying from COVID-19 when he had stage 4 cancer.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah, like the guy.
They're using, and it's sad, Xander, because they're using it, they're weaponizing
Yeah.
it. That's exactly what they're doing.
But when don't they weaponize things? Like, you know, like the guy who, the skydiver who died a couple of months ago, you know, he died of COVID.
Yeah.
I do not get that ideology. How can you jump out of a plane and the causality of your death be COVID? I mean, did he suddenly develop it midair and it took hold that quickly? I mean, it is absolutely ridiculous. You know, we've been saying the same thing for so long, and even some of my more liberal friends are now catching on and saying, wait a minute, I smell bullshit. You know, we've been saying this from day one. And again, I want to emphasize, because I get a lot of, I don't know about you, but I get a lot of hate mail, and people say, you can't say COVID doesn't exist. You know, so many people have died from it. Nobody's saying that COVID doesn't exist. We're just saying that it's not as prevalent as it has been reported.
You can't say that government would ever lie to us. How dare you?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it's like, you know, they've been lying to us, you know, as far back as we can remember.
Of course.
The fact of the matter is, you know, they're using this in a way to take down President Trump about the whole time, and now they're using it in order to keep Joe Biden off the debate stage. Now they're talking about having a singular debate, which would be one person with moderators, which would include Joe Biden and probably Wolf Blitzer in the room, not President Trump, and that is unacceptable.
No.
And listen, as well as the Republicans, the Democrats should demand that man has a debate against President Trump.
Right.
Because if you're not willing to say that, and you're not willing to watch him debate President Trump, you're admitting that he's not capable of being the president of the United States.
Yes, of course, because the thing, I've heard people say this as well. Oh, it's unfair and discriminatory for you to comment on the fact that he's dementing. Well, here's the thing. You know, Joe Biden is applying for a job, essentially, and that job, he gets appointed by the American people, and his state of health comes into play with regards to whether he gets the job or not. And if he is suffering from dementia like he is presenting, then he cannot do the job to the best of his ability.
No, Xander, and anytime the left try to scream about us calling Mr. Biden out on the carpet for what I believe is dementia, and I'm not exactly sure what he may have, how many times do they say the same thing about President Trump, if not worse?
Oh, yeah.
All the time.
Yeah. Look at the example.
He's crazy. They say he's insane.
Look at the example of when he went down the ramp from the stage, and it was slippery, and he found it difficult to do because it was slippery. You know, he even said himself, you know, what they do is they take the slightest little thing, you know, President Trump has a bit of a cold. Oh, he's been taking this or he's been doing that, or it is actually that ridiculous.
And also the way that they've mischaracterized how President Trump explained hydroxychloroquine. He has never, ever said that hydroxychloroquine will defeat this virus. He says it can treat the virus with other treatments, and it can. But nobody is making the claim that you just take some hydroxychloroquine and bang, you're all better. But we have had examples, and there are and Kendra Justice will tell you the same. Kendra Becker will tell you the same thing. We've had results with that.
Yeah, for sure. But the other thing, I'm kind of, it's imperative that we defend the president. I'm actually getting very battle weary. This is why, after the election, the show will probably be, the show's going to go back to its original format of Friday nights. Right. But I definitely am getting tired of explaining to idiots that the president never said you should drink bleach. What he talked about was a bleaching process. Chemotherapy is a bleaching process. And it just infuriates me that people say, oh yeah, you support your effing Donald Trump, but there he is telling people to drink bleach. I mean, if that's what you got from that speech, then you really... maybe you should drink bleach because you're an idiot. If your idiocy is such, see, if I tell you to go drink bleach, the first thing you're going to say to me is go to hell. So if you are that stupid to do that.
And there are people that's stupid. And, the problem is you should listen to your doctor, your personal doctor, not any politician, not any newscaster, not any journalist. Not me or Xander, not somebody in your family. Yeah. And if you're dumb enough to mistake fish cleaner for what the president was talking about, then, it might be your time to go with the Lord. Because you obviously, instead of when they handed out brains, they probably handed a rock to you. And that might be what's in your head. But you can't blame everything on President Trump. No. Even though everything under the sun that's bad in the United States of America and abroad is because of President Trump.
Oh, everything. I just saw something interesting this week. Everything. Said in the live feed, he said, just heard that Nevada passed a vote on Sunday night to go completely mail-in ballot. As heard today, that the debates actually start after 16 states have already started mail-in voting. You see, to me, I don't want to speak about this too much because it's one of the things I've prepared for Tony, but to me, the idiocy of this, with regards to the debates, I thought there were rules. I thought both candidates had to be in the same room with a moderator, with no teleprompter and no earpiece, because we both know that Joe Biden is not going to be able to handle that. I mean, every time he appears in public now, his demeanor is reduced,
Well, maybe they should have the debate in the temple where they put away Mr. Lewis, because evidently in those pews, nobody gets COVID because they're all sitting around each other without masks. And shoulder to shoulder.
Wait.
So maybe they should do it there, or maybe they should do it at Target or Walmart. The bottom line is, Xander, go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry. I was just going to say, were they all gay, liberal, or protesters? Because gays, liberals, and protesters are immune to COVID-19. Did you not know that, Chad?
Right. Oh, I knew that because Gavin Newsom told me that that's so, and so did Mr. Steve Lizardio. He also said that anybody that's protesting with Black Lives Matter doesn't have to wear a mask. So now I don't think him and his wife wear masks. So clearly, leftist ideology makes you, it puts a wall between you and the virus. So I don't know, maybe we should become brain dead liberals.
Yeah, we're going to build a big wall between you and the virus.
You know what? And you know what else is ticking me off, Xander? That this Bill Clinton story has gotten such little coverage from the media, including Fox News, and it's a worry because this should be the top story across the nation right now. And the fact that it's not is embarrassing.
11 times he visited that island. 11 times. I mean, maybe he was just fishing and golfing.
I think more.
Was it? Oh, I read today it was 11.
He
even one time is concerning.
Well, I mean, you're right. Maybe you had Loretta Lynch out there. They were talking about, their grandkids and playing golf. I didn't know Loretta Lynch played golf.
Yeah, and Loretta Lynch doesn't even. Bill Clinton. Loretta Lynch doesn't have any grandkids, does she?
What happened to Loretta Lynch? I mean, now they're talking about possibly Susan Rice running with Biden. What happened to Loretta Lynch? Did she just go away?
Yeah,
Loretta Lynch replaced Eric Holder.
Yeah, I think they've sent
I thought
her
they were
to
going to run Eric Holder at one point.
Yeah, I think they have sent her off to Dominican Republic or something for a holiday and got her out of the public eye. To be honest.
Yeah. I mean, they have such great candidates up for Joe Biden when he picks a VP. One of them is, a Castro sympathist. She made this comment in 2016 saying how great Castro was and how Cuba has benefited greatly from his leadership. And 4 years later, she condemned herself. See, in her old age, she learned in 4 years, only last 4, Xander, that she was wrong. It's
you
so
see that?
Embarrassing. It really is. You can't make this stuff up.
No, you can't. Gina just said she's hiding because her time is coming. Here's the thing. As the weeks go on, more paperwork is actually released because there's only a limitation for so long on paperwork, on governmental paperwork. That's why all the stuff came out on Barack Obama. I actually think, and I pray to God this is true, what's going to happen is the Donald is going to win the election, and he's going to win it so bigly that people are going to be really shocked. And his first acts as president are going to be to indict these anti-American mofos for the way they have interfered in the running of our great nation. And to me, that will be him kind of sorting this out. Because I think he had a lot more to do this period, don't you think?
Isn't it kind of like almost what he has to do?
Yeah.
I mean, there's really no other option. You see, when these people are out and really basically coming against the American people and anybody that supported President Trump, I would think that you'd want to get them behind bars.
Right.
Or maybe you could throw them over in Guantanamo. I mean, I would compare some of these activities to being a terrorist, certainly spreading hatred through Antifa and Black Lives Matter. So, yeah, I would like to see some arrests really soon.
Yeah, I would. But I think, here's the thing. They indicted him pretty quickly. They tried to impeach him, pretty quickly. What was it before the impeachment? I can't remember. There was something. Oh, the Russia. And then when they couldn't prove the Russia, they went to the impeachment. But if he had done like he said, appointed a special prosecutor for Hillary Clinton, they would have said, oh, that's just, revenge for the fact that we found out that you're, in bed with Russia, kind of thing. So this is the thing. He's damned if he does, and he's damned if he doesn't. I'm kind of tired of saying it. I know he's not perfect, but he's been brilliant in this term of office as the president. I don't care about much else. I don't care who he's fought with in the past. I care which contractors he's had problems with. I don't care which celebrities he's fought with. I don't care who he's called a fat pig in the past, and whether they've deserved it or not. I am concerned with Donald J. Trump's performance as the president of the United States and nothing more. And every American should be concerned with that alone, too.
Well, he had done so well, Xander. He had us in such great shape that they had to tear it all down. They had to sabotage what the president created, which was our greatest economy in the history of the United States. We talk about Black and Hispanic unemployment went down. They were getting jobs. Pay was going up. Taxes. We were getting tax breaks. All these good things that make him a great conservative that they couldn't stand because they thought they had it in the bag after Barry. They were upset that the Queen Cabbage farts didn't get put into the White House in her deserved time. And that's why they sabotaged the man, because they hate President Trump more than they love the country. I would venture to say none of them love the country anyway.
No, because well, let's face it. I was talking on last night's show. I'm sure you heard. I was actually referring to Joe Biden as Beijing Biden because he's in China's pocket. China,
yeah.
He's in their pocket. And the concern to me, if you're putting any country before America, then you are not a patriot. Donald Trump has been saying the same stuff for the last 20, 25 years, even longer, about how badly America has been treated. And I don't care if his family and his businesses benefit from the changes that are made, because we're all benefiting. They're American citizens. If changes are made that benefit everybody, they're obviously going to benefit every American citizen too. All of these myths about, all of the kind of, underhand stuff that has been done. They can't name one thing or one change that he's made just to benefit any one particular person. It's all been to benefit Americans.
And they all plan this thing out. Everything that Barack Obama did with weaponizing the FISA courts, to Hillary Clinton, using foreign intelligence to try to get dirt on President Trump and to spy through the Steele dossier, all that crap, everything that went on with them trying to paint Trump as a Russian agent was all done by Barack Obama. It was planned, and they committed, in my opinion, war crimes on the American people, because they tried to take down an administration. It wasn't only happening when he was running; it was happening while he was in office.
Yeah,
people, they have no lower form than a liberal Democrat in the White House, as such as Barack Obama, who I would call Islamophilic, if I have to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, but he must be at war with himself, because I thought being gay was haram. It was bad if you were a Muslim. I mean, look at the
I've had that discussion too. I've wondered about that.
Look at the evidence. Maybe they were prepared to overlook that if they thought they could dominate America. Look at the bullshit he put forward for the FISA warrants to spy on Donald Trump. Donald Trump was a private citizen at the time, whether he was running for public office or not. And they tapped his phones. And then when he said, I remember him saying, I just found out that Barack Obama was spying on me. And they're like, oh, this man is crazy.
No, he's not. Right. I know. And they get away with it all the. Oh, I meant to say, I know you got the guest coming up soon. Did you see Ilhan Omar was funneling over $1 million to her husband, who's now running her office? Did you see this?
Yeah, this has been going on for some time. Go ahead.
Yeah, and this is the third time she's been caught red-handed extorting money from the city of Minneapolis. And she's going to be on Team Biden. But I'll tell you, Xander, that Joe Biden's administration is going to be all crooks. It's going to make the Obama administration look like the Reagan administration. But the way it's shaping up here, you're going to have AOC, you're going to have Ilhan Omar, you're going to have Bernie Sanders. It's going to be like a bad episode of the Muppet Show.
But it already is like a bad. I watched I put the DNC debate at the DNC on last time it happened, and I thought it was the Muppet Pirate movie. But let's face it, these freaking Democrats are so dishonest, and I keep coming back to it. But I hope Dr. Dr. Gerard Lamiro is right that by March the Democratic Party is going to be over. I saw Pelosi on the TV saying, there is no doubt about it that we will be removing Donald Trump from the White House. I mean, you better bring your uncle and your drunken Italian mobster cousins too, Nance, because he ain't going without a fight. Because the ideology is that if they kind of cheat their way through this election, that he's just supposed to accept it and go away. But that ain't going to happen. A sitting president cannot be removed. Because let's face it, if there is this level of fraud at the election in November, he can contest it. But you know what? If it comes to it, I actually think now he should postpone the election. If it is gonna, like Nevada has just done this thing. I think he should postpone the election, because ultimately what this says is that they want to win this from vicarious means. And if they do that, that's not democracy, that's anti-American, and so it should be stopped until, let's wait till the threat is over, because you should have to go. The only people that should be getting a mail-in vote is those that are sick and disabled or living in another country. Everybody else can go and stand online. Because if you can go and stand in line at a Walmart, or you can do all these things, well, they are terrorist activities if you're rioting. If you can do all of this shit, then you can go and vote in person.
That's the other thing I'm worried about, is there's going to be, strong arm people trying to strong arm those that are going to the polling booths and all that. I wonder if it's going to be Black Lives Matter and Antifa going into some of these districts that went for President Trump. And I think probably you will see some of that. So we might need to get some of these militias together. Xander, I'm a part of a militia. I advise anybody out there, if you find a good militia, join it, because you do need to have patriots behind you, and you do need to be able to push back against these psychotic leftists. And the fact of the matter is, bro, in New York, in a certain district, they already screwed it up with this mail-in ballot stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So we already know it's corrupted.
Exactly.
They can't even tally the numbers.
Sorry to interrupt you. We gotta leave it there. And just one final thing very quickly.
Okay,
and they laughed at the militia over the years. Remember that, they laughed and said, oh, well, they're waiting for to the point where they have to overthrow the government. And now, it looks like that might distinctly be a possibility if the Democrats get in dishonestly. Thank you so much for calling us. It's always a pleasure to speak to you, my good friend Chet Martin from Freedom on Deck. Check them out at freedomondeck.com and Freedom on Deck on Facebook. Thanks a lot, brother. I will speak to you very soon.
Thanks a lot, Dan.
Thanks a lot. God bless you too. Take care. Hello to Yaz, who just joined us in the live feed. I hope you are good and well. I want to start the introduction for my next guest, who is a political commentator, and he is Tony Lasacco, and he's going to be calling us any minute now from the United States of America. Oh, yes, sorry. Let's have a quick look at the live feed. Everyone's saying hello to Yaz. Gene is saying great call, Chet. Carla's saying awesome job, Chet. What else did I want to share from the live feed? Swoop said, don't forget Beto. Yeah, Beto or whatever his name is. That's not even his name, is it? His name is something different. That's just an assumed name. And we all know we don't like people with assumed names, do they? People like Xander Gibb with a professional name. Because I'm professional. Swoop says, great one, Chet. We are going to be having a chat with our good friend, Libertarian Tony Lasacco. I don't know if you guys know, but before I actually joined the Republican Party as a measure of support for my good friend and President Donald J. Trump, I was actually a Libertarian, and I do support Libertarian ideologies. But I became a Republican to support my President Donald J. Trump. And it's interesting how I started off as a never Trumper. Shock horror, yes. I wasn't a supporter of Donald J. Trump because I had bought into the persona that he put across on the TV, saying to people, you're fired. I thought, what a horrible man. And then when you actually find out that that was just a character, it's kind of interesting how the media has been able to continue to manipulate that character into the ideology of that this is how, President Donald Trump actually is. I know people are messaging me and saying they keep getting kicked out of the live feed. I'm sorry. I have no control over Facebook. We will be hopefully broadcasting from the Xander Gibb channel, the Xander Gibb page, from tomorrow, because my ban is finally lifted. I never thought I would be talking about the fact that I've been banned, for doing absolutely nothing wrong on social media or anywhere for that matter. It kind of seems now that if you are a conservative, you are a class that is attacked more often than not. This should be my guest tonight, the one, the only, the fabulous Mr. Tony Lasaka. Welcome back to the show, Tony. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Xander.
How is the world with you? Are you going to be affected by this weather phenomenon? I never know whether to call it a hurricane or, because I don't want to be called racist. It might consider itself something else, and you know what the world's like today.
No, actually, ironically, it's just right over our part of Florida.
Really? That's great. That's great because a lot of the time when you get one of those weather phenomena coming up from the south, you get it worse, don't you, in Florida?
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. I want to jump right in. I want to talk a little bit about Tucker Carlson, who's currently facing outrage from colleagues over his commentary termed as racist rhetoric, claiming it was probably illegal for the presumptive Democratic presidential nominee Sleepy Joe Biden to prioritize black women in his running mate search while not questioning the candidate's qualifications. Carlson declared, referencing previous inflammatory segment, these are Stacey Abrams, Karen Bass, and Kamala Harris. No mainstream candidate would consider any of these people. All of them would be disqualified without debate. Carlson took aim at Senator Harris. Kamala Harris, meanwhile, is so transparently transactional that even Democrat primary voters who have a strong stomach found her repulsive, he exclaimed. Pretty much no one knows Kamala Harris likes her, claiming the three women did not represent Blue Ribbon Group. Carlson then talked over Biden campaign's apparent prioritization of a woman of color to fill out the ticket for what could well be the most important job on the earth. Biden decided to hire exclusively based on the qualities that are God-given, i.e. race and gender. And that is it. But wait a second, you ask, isn't that insulting? Isn't it wrong? Isn't it probably illegal? What say you, Tony? Because in any other job, if you advertise you wanted a black woman, unless it was one of these kind of exemptions where they have what's it called? There's the name for it when you can give a job to a black person just because they're black. Are you there?
Yeah, affirmative action.
Affirmative action.
With all due respect to Tucker, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
It was a little rattly. Yeah. I don't know what was
happening. With all due respect to Tucker Carlson, no, it's not illegal. They do that all the time, and it's like you said, you can advertise for a particular position. It's definitely not illegal, especially with affirmative action and everything.
But I think you'll find it is in politics.
Illegal. Whether it's morally wrong, now that's a whole other different topic.
I think you'll find I did a little bit of research today, and which it is not legal in political terms to do that. It's not legal to say you want your running mate to be anything specific, like male, black, white. The only thing is that they have to be a card-carrying member of the party, and that's it. So to name someone, to say that you want someone to be black and female, I think, I'm not a legal scholar, but I think it's illegal.
Now, I've never heard of that before, quite honestly. I could be wrong. Maybe it is. But as far as I know, that is not illegal in the United States of America.
Right.
I could be wrong on that one, Xander.
You touched on the moral issue of it. Clearly, the reason that Joe Biden is going for a black female is to kind of dampen the accusations that he's been racist for 40 years, which he clearly has. All of the bills he's tried to put through and the commentary he's used, talking about black people as Negroes, talking about bringing them to heel and saying that we don't want these predators in our communities, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Do you think that black people, I want to change what I'm going to say. I'm going to say, do you think they're stupid enough to to kind of take that on. But do you think black people are actually going to buy that?
Are going to buy what?
The fact that he is choosing a black woman to cover the fact that he's a racist and has had racist policies for the last 40 years.
Well, I don't think black people are buying it anymore, period. I just read an article on Fox News about Condoleezza Rice, and it was very good, actually, about what she said. You know, don't presume to think for black people. Black people are sick of it. They are sick of these liberal white folks being in a superiority complex, thinking for them and telling them what to do and what to think.
Right, but this is not actually about that, is it really? When it comes to employing someone for, because let's face it, the run for president is looking to employ someone to run the country, or two people, a president and a vice president. But that's not thinking for black people. That's wanting equality, because why should, for me, like I've been involved in recruitment throughout my professional life. And my reasoning for hiring someone is twofold. Number one, their ability to do the job, and number two, their ability to adapt. I don't care about what color they are, who they sleep with, what their politics are, or any of those things. And surely it should be the same in political circles.
Yes, and that's the moral issue. I do not think that, and I said this last week, Xander, there is no reason to limit the field to women, let alone black women.
Right.
You are disqualifying. What if there's no black woman that's qualified to be president of the United States, for instance? I'm not saying that's the case, but what if the most qualified person happens to be a 75-year-old white guy?
Well, then go for it. Because to me, it's about it's not about any of the aesthetics. I really don't care about the aesthetics. It doesn't. They didn't choose Donald Trump for his aesthetics, did they? Let's face it, respectfully.
No, they did not.
A lot of politicians that I like, I don't choose for their aesthetics. I choose for their ability to do the job and how their ideologies kind of fall in line with mine. But final question on this. Do you think it's going to affect him negatively at the polls that he's clearly trying to compensate for his apparent racism?
I think, and once again, I do not believe that Joe Biden is racist. You would have to prove that to me. But I think it's going to backfire on him in terms of the broad appeal. I do not think that by picking a black woman, that's going to appeal to, and I want to be careful how I say this, you have to appeal to everybody, okay?
You do.
For those people that want a black woman and feel a black woman should be the vice president, they'll be all for that. But other people might be looking for another person.
Right. I'm not looking to prove to you either way that Joe Biden is racist. I am saying that his actions over 40 years as a politician trying to bring black people down and control them and referring to them as Negroes is racist. That's basically my point. I want to move on to the next issue. Mike Pence received a barrage from liberals on social media after he echoed President Donald Trump's claims about mail-in voter fraud to Fox News' Laura Ingraham on Monday night. Pence promoted this damn teleprompter, promoted the use of absentee ballots, describing them as perfectly acceptable while criticizing the universal mail-in voting as ripe for fraud. Liberal Twitter users pointed out that mail-in voting and absentee ballots are pretty much the same, one and the same, and that the same processes are used for both, except all mail-in voting is millions of people. Others noted that Trump in March voted but via mail in Florida, in the GOP primary, and they're saying there's no record of serious fraud resulting from mail-in voting. Donald Trump is just one person. Isn't it logical that on the biggest scale of mail-in voting, the higher the propensity for fraud? The president made it clear, said we're headed to the courts. There's one person who, one person, one vote. And that right is the very center of our democracy. And they're not going to stand idly by while Dem states and Dem governors use the backdrop of the coronavirus to send millions of ballots across the country. So where do you stand on this, Tony? Obviously, mail-in ballots are important for some people, whereas others could actually go and vote in person if they can go to Walmart and live their daily lives and do that while wearing a mask.
I think that mail-in ballots are going to be a disaster.
Right.
That's my personal belief.
Right.
This is, and I can justify that. I know the president's recently come out in favor of Florida for a mail-in ballot, and the media is making a big stink, like he's just picking the states he thinks he's going to win for the mail-in ballot. We have contested elections. We always complain about Russia and other countries in mail-in ballots.
Right.
Why do we think it's going to be better here? Plus, if you look back on our history, the whole term stuffing the ballot box, where did it come from?
Yeah, exactly.
Mail-in ballots. I mean, I really think mail-in ballots, and I understand the safety issue, I understand the security issue. I think it will be a disaster. There is an established system for absentee ballots and verification of that. But if what President Trump is saying, and I've got no reason to disbelieve him, they're just mailing out ballots to people without verification, how can you not have voter fraud?
Yeah, absolutely.
My dog could vote.
Yeah, it's a much bigger scale. But here's the other thing for me. It's been reported that in the New York, the USPS offices in New York, there are piles of ballots that are just sitting there. Friends of mine who live in New York, in Manhattan, are saying, when they go into their door, there's piles of ballot papers for everyone in the building. They've not been put into the individual mailboxes. They're just sitting there. So anyone could grab all of those, fill them in, and send them off. It's not, I don't think it's as secure. It's one thing for people that really need it, like people who live in other countries and people who are disabled and blah, blah, blah. People who live in rural areas. But for everybody to do it, the propensity for fraud is clearly increased.
Absolutely.
Wow, we found consensus on something. That's amazing.
I can't stress enough. What is going to happen and what kind of civil unrest is going to be created as an outcome of this? And that is my concern.
Right. Well, I think there has to be legal action, because the thing is that the other alternative is to postpone the election. And I know people don't want that. And they say, oh, it's beyond President Trump's scope of power. But if there is, well, clearly there is, this risk, this security risk of doing it the way that they want to do it, then what they have to do is either do all in-person voting for people that can do it, or postpone the election. It is that simple.
Absolutely, and I disagree that it's beyond the scope of the president's power. Actually,
I do too. But tell me why. Tell me what you think.
People don't realize that the president has a lot of untapped executive authority.
Yeah.
In national emergency.
Yeah.
Well, we are in a national emergency.
Exactly. And I think that when he does do it, they will call that an abuse of power too. But did they call it abuse of power when Barack Obama used all of his executive orders and ordinances, et cetera, et cetera? No. So it's okay. Is it okay to do it if you're black and not if you're orange? I'm obviously being facetious because, they bring everything back to race, this identity politics thing. But if it was okay for Barack Obama to do things via executive order, I mean, there wasn't a national emergency when he was in office. So it is a totally different situation as far as I'm concerned.
who becomes president if he does postpone the election? That's something that has to be looked at too. I heard somebody say that it was the Speaker of the House, actually, that Nancy Pelosi would theoretically be president.
No.
I'm not sure if that's the case, God help us.
No. Oh, God, can you imagine? Free vodka for everybody. That certainly would be concerning, but I think he would continue to be president until that happened. But I don't think he wants to postpone the election. I think what he wants to do is to make the states reopen and get people back to work, because the corona threat is not as bad as they've made it out to be. And if they do that, he doesn't need to postpone the election, does he?
Well, I think that the president, with good intentions, sometimes when he speaks, doesn't help himself very much. To say it is what it is, I understood what he meant, but the way the media twisted that was to show was like he didn't care.
But But how is that his fault then if it's the media? Because you contradicted yourself somewhat. How is it his fault that the media twist it? It's very difficult to make commentary that's untwistable.
It really is. He just, it's almost impossible to predict how they're going to twist things, honestly.
It is.
We say that all the time. It is what it is when we've given up hope. That's a common thing to say. But they twisted it just to say he didn't care about the death. You know?
I think
he was indifferent to it.
Well, I think if he didn't care about it, he wouldn't have closed the country as quickly as he did before there were any deaths.
The first time, exactly.
Right. I think he's damned if he doesn't, damned if he doesn't. And I know, you don't, there are things that you don't agree with the president. But on a whole, I actually think he's done a very good job in a very difficult situation, because not only he had to contend with the cleaning up after Barack Obama's misadministration, but he's also had to contend with the media and the liberals attacking him at every juncture. So I think on the whole, he's done a good job. I don't think any world leader would have done any differently or any better or any worse in that situation, really, just personally.
And I think it goes beyond that. I think that any leader, Democrat or Republican, would have had a hard time.
For sure.
Because the country is so divided.
Yeah.
I mean, if Joe Biden gets in, what's going to happen? The country's like 50-50 split right now. And there's no more compromise.
Absolutely.
There's just no more compromise. And that is a sad thing that we can't even cross party lines. Look, they can't even pass the stimulus bill to give Americans the money.
Of course, because they don't want to. They want to do everything they can to make him look bad. And I think the beauty of this now is that even Democrats are seeing what they're doing. They're seeing through their bullshit. We got to leave it there. Gina, my Gina's swearing in the live feed, but I do agree with you. We got to leave it there. Tony, but tell people where they can find you and find out a little bit more about what you do.
You can find me on the Center on Facebook for political, religious, and social commentary. Just check out the page. It's called the Center on Facebook.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Tony Lusarco from the Center. Make sure you check him out, go follow him, and go and look at the other stuff that he's doing and commenting on. Thank you so much for joining us once again, Tony, and give our love to Kiko.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, buddy. Take care. That was Tony Lusarco. Make sure you check him out on social media and at the Center. Thanks to everyone who's made today's show possible. Thanks to everyone in the live feed. Even my Gina. I've never seen her swear before, but I agree with her. Swoop says yes. Split, but one half doesn't riot and burn things down. Absolutely. And finally, Yaz says wrecking the economy was the goals that the Dem achieved. Thank you very much, Carla, for your compliment. Thanks to my good friend Chip Martin for calling in, and thanks to my friend Tony Lusarco for being our guest. On tomorrow's Not Had Your Fill of the Gipster, You can find me 5 nights a week, 5 Pacific, 7 Central, 8 Eastern, on 1 in the UK, 10 a.m. the next day in Australia. Join us tomorrow for my scintillating chat when Swoop and Julio Rivera join us. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. I have been Xander Gibb. Make sure you share the show, and we will see you again tomorrow. Sorry for all of the technical problems. I do blame most of them on Facebook because Mark Zuckerberg is just pissed that he looks like Data and he's had to resort to having a mail order bride. I love you all. Bye-bye.
It has been good to me this time around. Things were the bound to change when it was found. Sugar never tasted sweeter on my lips. My heart is now intact and I can find no ribs. This is love, yeah, love. Never known true love before. Seen so many counterfeits that left me on the floor. This is love, yeah, love. All will come to those who wait. Time it cannot know the bounds, and era don't dictate.
Click the bell button and subscribe to keep up with the Xander Gibb Show. Oh yes, sirree.